Welcome to Black Tie Optional. I'm Sydney.
I'm Colleen.
Let's get into it.
You gotta schedule in time for yourself like you schedule in time for your clients. And that's why it's so hard to show up authentically in a really fake space. So stop scrolling, stop shopping. The best gear out there is not going to make you a good photographer. Absolutely.
So-
Everyone wants their opinions heard. I mean, that's why we have this podcast. We're all talking about opinions and what we do.
Hello, everybody. Allie, we're so happy you're here.
Yes, me too. Thank you guys for having me.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so tell us about you and how you got into photography.
Okay, so my name is Allie Atkisson. I am a 30-year-old wedding photographer, and I also do commercial work. I grew up in a tiny town outside of Arkadelphia called Brown Springs. You guys may notice that from BJ's interview that you guys have.
Oh, yeah.
Because he and I grew up together.
Oh,
So,
I didn't know that.
Yes. So we would ride the same bus together to and from school. We both went to Washita High School. So, you know, there's like 30 of us in the whole school, super teeny. So I grew up around there, and just like pretty much anyone else, I think you kind of get your hands on a camera. Mine happened to be my mom's Kodak Easy Share. Super good.
I love it.
It was lovely. And I started taking pictures of, plants and animals and stuff like that. And someone was like, hey, you're pretty good. You should put these somewhere. So I took them to the county fair, as one does.
There you go.
And I won in every single category, along with my pepper sauce. My inner granny came out as well. So that was really cool, just to kind of have like some, I don't know, someone being like, yeah, you're doing really good at this. So that was fun. Yeah, like some validation. And as I got older, I started doing pictures for my friends and seniors, and I started saving from my senior photos and detailing cars for my dad's business to purchase my first Nikon D90.
Okay.
She was a stellar camera, and from there it just kind of grew.
That is so cool. I had no idea y'all grew up together. That just made
yeah.
my whole day.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I love BJ. He's been a part of my life since we started picking up cameras together, honestly.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So whenever you did your first wedding, like what made you go, okay, I want to try a wedding?
Okay, so actually BJ.
I love it.
So I was taking pictures for people here and there, like seniors, but then I had my first engagement session in 2010, I think, and they paid me like $50, and I loved it. I was like, this is so fun. They like messaged me on Facebook, and I had only been doing like macro images at that point. And she was like, we love your work. We'd love for you to do this for us. And I had a great time. Well, then BJ's kind of easing into the scene, and he's like, I would love a second shooter. And so I started second shooting for him whenever I could. And I think I shot my first wedding out of high school in 2012.
Okay.
So it was really cool to have already kind of gotten some experience to know how like a wedding flows.
Yeah.
Without having the like stress of being the lead.
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm like really grateful to him for like wanting to hang out with me. And, I'm 3 years younger. He didn't have to like be my friend as like a cool high schooler,
Yeah.
But he was. And so that really like opened the floor to do weddings.
That is so cool.
Yeah, thanks.
So okay, from there, so like when was the first time you ever shot like your wedding? You were the lead, like
2012.
Okay.
Like that was my first wedding right out the gate. I think they must have found me on Facebook or something, just because I was kind of like on the rise then. Like that was kind of the big deal. And Instagram was just kind of like hitting the scene. And they found me on there, and my mom was my second shooter. She second shot with me
Props
for
to moms. They're
years.
the best.
Oh yeah, I did a photo shoot for her and everything for my first like website, and she was on there and like listed her and everything. She's super talented. Like my mom's good at everything she picks up, so it was really good to like have her there for moral support. But also she's a killer photographer too.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so like tell us your why. Like why do you love being a wedding photographer?
Honestly, I genuinely enjoy guiding people through the happiest time of their life. Like that means so much to me to have someone trust me to say, this is huge, please deliver it back to me.
Yeah.
So I enjoy just like being with people on their happiest day. I think that is like our legacy. My husband and I have like consciously decided not to have children. And so our legacy won't go on in that way.
Yeah.
But these pictures get to be our legacy. So from years from now, their children are going to be holding them and their grandchildren are going to be holding them. So little bitty hands and wrinkly hands are going to be able to enjoy these images. And even though they may not bring up our name, I know that that's something that we got to create and hand to them. So
That is
that's kind of our why.
I don't know. I still think about my wedding photographer like 10 years ago because I loved her so much. So you never know.
Yeah, never know.
Yeah.
So your husband does it with you.
He does. He is my like built-in second shooter. I never have to worry about really booking anyone else unless he is out of town or ill, and that's only happened a couple of times. So he's wonderful. He's really
So
talented
did you
too.
teach him?
I did. I
Okay.
did. So I think it was like, we'd only been dating for a couple of months, and I was like, you want to come to a wedding with me? And handed him a camera, and I was like, all right, if he can make it do this, like, we're gonna keep dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And dude, he nailed it. He did so good.
He didn't even know he was like going
No.
through a test. Yeah.
No, he is like the most chill guy you've ever met, and he had a great time. Like, he really enjoyed it. He did like some film photography, just kind of playing with it when he was younger. So
Yeah.
he already kind of knew how to like frame the shot, know composition, and honestly, he's just really good with people too. Like,
Okay.
I say we worked with Tommy a few times,
Yeah.
and I love working with you guys, and
Oh,
I feel like
thanks.
you're both very creative. Like you
Well,
both
thank
like
you.
complement each other really well.
thanks. He's pretty cool. I'm a big fan.
So this is like your full-time job?
Yes.
Is this his full-time job?
It's not.
Okay.
Ideally, one day in the future, maybe we will be able to work together full time. But he
Yeah.
does have a full time job at a plant near here. He's kind of in charge of all their OSHA and everything. So
gotcha.
he does that Monday through Thursday, and he's off Fridays with me to shoot weddings.
How do
Lucky
you?
dog.
I know. He really worked that into the system, though. He's like, listen, my wife and I work hard. I got to be off on Fridays.
Yeah.
That's
Usually
so
for travel.
cool,
Yeah.
though. Because I feel like
Thanks.
so many times employers just don't get it. You know what I mean?
But they're really great. Like, where he works is wonderful. He actually works with his best friend, too. So he's really
Aw.
enjoyed working there.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I love that. So, I feel like on your stories, like you are so pro mental health, which I love so much because I feel like it's one of those things, it doesn't get talked about enough. And like as photographers, videographers, just people in the industry in general, like I feel like it just can be a
It can be
lot.
taxing.
It
Yeah.
can be very taxing, like especially you're showing up for people emotionally and stuff like that. Like, how do you keep afloat when things, because you're so positive all the
positive.
time.
That is such a good question, and thank you. I'm glad it comes off positive all the time because I will be
Yes.
honest, sometimes I have a little rain cloud over me, and it
Aw.
feels really sad. So, like, I don't want people to think, like, oh, Allie's just
Bubbly.
farting rainbows and unicorns all the time.
Right.
She is not. She
Yeah.
has bad days.
Right.
I think routine is just really important. I think humans in general need to stick to a routine that brings them joy.
Yeah.
And outside of that, if you start putting mental health to the side, everything is going to suffer. All of your relationships, your work. So it's just not worth giving that up in
Yeah.
pursuit of overworking yourself.
Right.
So like routine, I think, is like the most important thing. But I also stay very organized. I have alarms for everything in my life, so that I have like really bad time blindness. And I say, yeah, like real bad time blindness.
Yeah.
And I will just say, at 4:30, I am done working. My husband should be home at that time. I cannot work anymore. That's what works for me. I know that's not going to work for everyone, especially when you've got littles and family that you have to take care of. But just finding your routine and sticking to that and prioritizing your mental health and time off the way that you do for work.
Yeah, I'm gonna say even like you saying, okay, this is my cutoff time. Like that's a really good work life
Yes.
balance.
Yeah. Because let's be honest.
Oh, and sometimes you can't. Like, I mean, there's definitely times that I am
Right.
like editing into the wee hours of the night,
Busy
but
season and
I know that I'm not my best the next day, so why push that,
Yeah.
I mean, you're so right. Like, I was staying up till 3 a.m. like a ton. And recently I had to be like, okay, I can't keep doing this anymore. Like, I'm suffering. I was gaining weight just from
Yeah.
like the lack of sleep and stuff. And like, so now I'm just getting up earlier and working when it's light outside. It's
Yeah.
working
Yeah.
out a lot better.
Imagine that.
Let me tell
Circadian
you.
rhythm.
Let me tell you. But
does.
yeah, it's just so hard. Like, especially during busy season. Yeah. Like, you feel like you're drowning some days.
Absolutely.
It's a lot with like communication, editing, shooting. I mean, it's just like all the time,
And I think a lot of people outside of the industry are looking in and they're like, how can you have a bad day? It's all about
Right.
love. And you just sit at your computer and you're home and you're in your jammies and you're having your coffee and it must be lovely. And it's like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
not necessarily
That's
how
not
it
it.
is. Like,
That's
I mean, sure, some days maybe, romanticize your day for yourself,
Right.
but that ain't
Yes.
it. Like, we got deadlines we have to get to. We've got
Right.
people who are expecting us. But yeah, you gotta schedule in time for yourself like you schedule in time for your clients.
Yep, I agree.
That is
Totally
really
agree.
good tip.
So commercial work, you do a lot of
Yeah.
product photography.
Yeah.
How did you get into that?
So during COVID, I realized that there was a ton of businesses who were suffering. Like a lot of local businesses were trying to get their products out there and they were trying to make money. I mean, we were all trying to make it through that. And I just realized like none of their product photos were really matching the vibe that they really brought. Like going into this place feels different than the photos that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And so like my first couple of clients I took on, I was like, listen, I'm trying to get into this. I'd love to come in and do a free photo shoot for you. I'm going to give you 50 images. If you love them, let's work together. And I even like edit based on what their branding is like. So like I do pictures for Bella Vita. They're really warm and earthy tones. So their edit looks different than Bearcat and Bespoke's edit, you know? So yeah, I just like saw a need, fill a need, and tried to go in it with a mindset of like as another small business so that it's approachable and, you know, easy to pay for, and really fun. Like I really enjoy it.
It's like very creative. I did it there for a while and then I got too busy and I just couldn't do it anymore. But so fun just to like sit down and just let your mind go.
Absolutely.
You know?
And like products don't have opinions, you know, they don't have a timeline.
Right.
So it's really fun to kind of get in there and in a teeny tiny space create something that seems really massive. So that's fun.
So do you have like a favorite thing to photograph, like in terms of product?
Ooh. I really love jewelry. There's something about that, like the femininity of it is just really fun and playful. But food, oh, I love photographing.
Do you ever get to eat it?
Oh my gosh, yes. I have tried everything on Community Bakery's menu, like everything.
And that's like the best place to try everything.
They've got great stuff, yeah.
Literally, I've never had a single bad thing.
And you won't. Like everything on their menu has been great.
Their creme brulee is my favorite.
It's good.
It's so good.
It's good.
Okay, so have you ever had a mentor?
Yes. So we kind of mentioned BJ. BJ and I kind of got into this at the same time. I always felt like he was someone I could rely on if I had a question. Chances are he'd already come across it. So that was really good just to kind of have someone in your corner and always be able to text him and be like,
He's like for you too.
Yeah,
like he's
absolutely.
such a good person.
He is such a good like friend to have in your corner for sure, and always has been. So he was definitely on up there for me. And then I would say that in 2018, I got into this program that was extremely hustle forward. And at the time, I really thought that's what I needed because I felt lazy. I was doing like which is so silly because I was working 2 jobs at the same time, but doing dental work, and I really wanted to pursue photography. So I got into this like hustle culture and did these classes, and I ended up in Orlando in 2018 and ended up making like some photography friends that I think will be friends for life after that.
Cool.
The class itself was really beneficial. They even talked about mental health and had a therapist there that was entrepreneurial like centered.
That's really
that was really neat
cool.
because I never even thought like a very specific mentor for that would be awesome for mental health. So that was really neat. But then we went to the bar later at our hotel and I met up with a sweetie pie woman named Carrie Walsh, and she's out of the Pennsylvania area. She's since moved since there, and I cannot remember where she's moved now. But she like finally gave me that like push to understand that I don't have to hustle. Like you can do this in a really loving way. So the hustle culture pushed me to quit my job, and Carrie taught me to love myself through it.
That's neat.
Carrie Walsh's program was fantastic for me.
Okay, that is super cool. So, like, side note, this was not on what we sent you, but like, is there anybody in the industry, like, I'm not even talking locally, I'm just talking like all across the board that you like really look up to? Is there anybody that sticks out?
You know, honestly, no one, there's plenty of people out there doing really amazing things.
Right.
But after being burned during this like hustle situation, I'm very skeptical of other
Like bigger names.
teachers out there.
Yeah.
And I've even talked to some friends who have done programs with other people, and you know, they're dropping $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. You're looking at losing out on 2 or 3, 4 weddings to have someone teach you. Is it going to be worth it? Right. So there's really no one out there right now besides the ones that I've mentioned that I really have put stock in.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I wouldn't. I just haven't found anyone yet that I'm like, yeah, you really resonate with me.
Yeah. I know. I feel like it's one of those things like you see a lot of people that they invest the money and then they're like, this is not what I thought this was going to be.
No. Or they start at too much of like a fundamental level.
Yeah.
And they're not meeting people who've been in this for a long time. Like,
exactly.
There needs to be a very distinct like difference between that.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree.
And there's really no like, not guidelines, but there's no It's not like someone has to, the person who is putting on these things, they don't have to go through like any
There's
kind
no
of structure.
regulation.
No regulations. That's the word I'm looking for.
Exactly.
So it's like anyone can fake it till you make it.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I mean, all you need is a few videos to go viral.
No.
I mean, in these days, I feel like it's really not that hard.
No, if you're trying for that.
But you can even pay now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just continue to boost the same post. Well, yeah, eventually there's going to be 3,000 likes on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
You
why
know?
it's so hard to show up authentically in a really fake space.
I agree.
So it's really hard to find people that are being genuine online, much less want my money.
No, I swear.
You know, so
I swear.
I want like cold hard evidence that you're going to help me. So
Oh, I completely agree. Okay, so how do you handle brides? Like, I feel like now because of social media, there is this huge pressure, like Pinterest board, you know, you're going on there, you're engaged, you're like, I'm gonna make my Pinterest board, and then you're like pinning all this stuff, nothing's matching.
Nothing's
Right.
cohesive.
You know, you see all these trends, you want to do every single trend that there is. Like, how do you handle a bride's not the right way to put it, but that's how I'm gonna
or
phrase
even
it.
like bring
Bring them down
Yeah.
to earth. Like,
Yeah.
how do you like set realistic expectations, I guess,
Yeah.
with people?
So I love Pinterest. I am a huge daydreamer. I'm a big dreamer. I love being in that space. I think it's one of the only search engines, form of social media, whatever you want to call it, that's worth investing in anymore. So I do put that pretty high up for my brides to look through as well. But I really think it comes down to communication. Like just putting yourself as the expert in your field
Yep.
lets them understand you got to bring it down to here. These are all amazing ideas, but this shot had a $5,000 floral budget. Sorry, honey bear.
Yeah.
We ain't got that in the book. So yeah, like
Right.
it's just not going to happen. So I just think really communicating and creating a good relationship with your client from the very beginning allows you to be able to have those hard conversations of like, hey, I think this is beautiful, but this is another way that you can approach it, especially if they have a planner. I don't really have to have that conversation with them too much.
Right.
9 times out of 10, I don't really feel like my couples do often have planners. So we do have to have those conversations, but it's never awkward. It's very much like love the dream space, but let's make it a reality and let's make it yours because
Right.
that's someone else's idea. That's someone else's dream. What is your dream? Like be inspired by that, but make it yours.
Yes.
I love that.
I feel like that it's so hard these days, like so much pressure, like to be authentic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I know there's a lot of people out there struggling with that, like conversations that I've had with clients and stuff, and they just feel this huge pressure, and I hate it for
Yeah.
them. Or even not, it's like they want something that's not them in the sense of like, okay, they're seeing all these like laughy pictures, all these moments, and it's like, are you a serious person or are you like naturally doing that and I'm
Right.
snapping it? You know,
Right.
like I can't make you something that you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you ever dealt with that, like engagement session wise?
Yeah, and that's why I offer engagements like complimentary with most of my packages because I want to get to know you
Yep.
as a couple. Because not everyone's going to show up and be like this laughy, giggly, goofy couple. Some of us don't like PADA. Some of us are really more of a team base and we're not really going to touch or be close or giggle a lot.
Right.
So in that space of time, within the first 15, 20 minutes of our session, I'm already feeling out what are these people like?
Yeah.
What's going to resonate with them?
Yeah.
And then that way on wedding day, I already know like, okay, these prompts do not work for them. It does not serve them.
Right.
And get genuine photos of them being them because I've put in the work to figure out who they are
Exactly.
together.
I feel like that's so important too because I mean, it even happens to me sometimes. I have people come to me, they're like, well, we've already taken engagements. And I'm like, but you haven't taken engagements with me.
It's a really good time to like learn your couple.
Absolutely.
It is. We'll learn each other too. Like people can see me and how I work and make sure that that's good, you know, for
Yeah.
them because I mean, we're not all meant to work together.
No.
No, and like you're building your team for your day. Your team is going to be with you all day. And you've said it on the podcast numerous times. Your photographer and your videographers are with you more than your partner half the day.
Yeah.
So you better make sure you like them and you better make sure that like the way that they work resonates with you.
Oh yeah. And that's
I
what,
agree.
you know, when they show you Pinterest pictures or anything like that, even your photographer, it's so important for all of us to like read the room and read the couple. And like even I had an engagement session and we were talking before and I'm like, you know, are you guys more PDA? Not really. And they both were like, I mean, we're like lovey-dovey, but not really. And so I was like, okay, that's totally fine. And they were like, but we'll do whatever. And I'm like, no, if that's not you, why would I force you into a box
Right.
when we can do so many other things
Right.
that are not all kissy?
Absolutely. I'm trying to formulate my engagements to be a little bit more activity based.
Yes.
So I'm working on that right now, but I do feel like that's going to be really good for our couples who are like, we don't really know what to do. Like we're different at home than we are in front of the camera. And like you said, like some people are like, I've already had my engagement session done. I don't need another one. I'm like, well, baby, this is like chips and salsa at a Mexican restaurant. Have it for free and let's go.
Yes.
Like, let's enjoy this.
Well, it's just like take the time and do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why you don't. I don't know.
I kind of love that, what you were saying, like adventure. I just thought, I was like, what if you went in like a pizza making class?
Yeah. Or
Yes.
something.
Or like,
Or like, do you like playing games together? Like, are board games your deal? Do you guys have a
Yes.
killer margarita recipe?
Right.
Like,
so fun.
let's go to your house. Let's do something that is
Yes.
you. Not everything has to be posy rosy at the Capitol on the steps in a white dress. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But is it you?
And I feel like because that's the thing right now,
Yeah.
you see all these people that I'm like,
it's like this
I
isn't
looked you up on Facebook. It's not the vibe I'm getting.
Right.
So why are we doing it?
But also, like, how fun, like, okay, margarita, if like that was that season of life for them and that was really important, and then they get to look back at that like in 20 years when they're like,
Right.
we're not in this season, but like, don't you remember that season? How fun was that?
Yes. And I think like connecting memories to your senses is super important. I tell my brides this all the time. Make sure your bouquet is really fragrant. You're going to smell this, you know, in the future and be like, oh my gosh, it reminds me of my wedding day. Or pick up certain perfume. Like we're so, like as humans, we just get so connected to these like tactile things. Why not let that be a part of the memory that you have when you did these photo shoots?
Yes.
fun.
Like it's just super fun.
Yes.
Like activities have to happen. Like people
They
don't
do.
know what they don't want until you tell. Like people don't know what they want until you tell them.
Yes.
Basically, and that's not like a manipulation thing. It's a we all get so like, well, this is how it has to be done. There's no thinking outside of the box.
No, I agree. And it's just like you said, I this one session just sticks out in my mind and I just love it to bits. But like they had me come to their house, they did crossword puzzles, they sat together at the table, they did crosswords,
that.
like they were animal people. They had this giant Saint Bernard and they had just adopted a lizard and like, you know, we just
Yeah.
they thrift all the time. And so it was just the coolest thing ever.
It's documenting
Yeah.
them.
Yes. Like, I wish we would get out of this, like, okay, it's our wedding day. Picture, 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 picture. Instead, like, why don't we just live a little and just trust our person to document that?
Absolutely.
You know?
If we could find like the balance between we got to get these shots. Like there are just shots that you have to get on wedding day and they
Right.
usually have to go a certain way. But then let that second half of that block be like, all right, let's get wild. Like let's do something fun that feels like you guys. And I think we just get so stuck in like, okay, we've got what we need. There's no more room for anything creative, you know?
Right. Well, and I find that, like, I don't know if this happens with y'all, but like couples portraits, like the portion of the day, it's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. We've got to get inside. We've got to get inside. We've got to get inside. And so it's like, I feel like I'm taking the same picture every single wedding day. You know what I mean?
It's like left on the back burner.
It
And
is.
then they're like, okay, well, we have to get these 5 shots here just immediately. Like,
And
hey,
then
we got
that's
them.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's what hangs on their wall. And I just end up really disappointed, to be honest. So I'm editing and I'm like, this could have been so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we
and
were in such a hurry.
couples portraits are my favorite.
I know.
That's
but
my favorite part of the day.
I know, but no one ever prioritizes it.
Yeah.
Like ever. I might get a bride every now and then. It's like, I want a good 45 minutes. And I'm like, I love you. Tell all of your friends this, please.
Yes.
Make this trending.
I
I
think
swear.
our couples who are focused on like spending time with their family and friends, like I totally love that. I totally
Yes.
respect that. This is the only time you're going to have everyone you know and love in one room.
Yep.
Please soak that up.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's okay to make a little time for yourself. Your family and friends are going to understand that
Right.
this is your day.
Yeah.
So if like taking a little extra time for portraits means a lot to you, like let that be priority for you.
I mean, everyone always talks about, like, you don't spend your wedding day with your spouse, but, like, why not?
Yeah.
You know, like, why not?
There's really no
I
rules.
just will never understand.
That's another reason why I like first looks too. Like it's good for the timeline, sure, but honestly, like, you get to spend so much more time with your person.
Yes.
And that's like what this is all about.
And it's before all the people arrive, so there's not that pressure to hurry.
You can make that margarita.
Yes. Yes.
On wedding days, if you've never worked with Allie, I will tell you, like, Allie is this bubbly and hype woman the entire day. How do you do that? How do you, like, stay just so happy and...
You can't have a bad day on wedding day.
I agree.
You literally cannot. There, pretty much any other job, you can come in and be like, I'm giving 10% today, and that is fine. You cannot show up to someone's wedding day. You gotta put it in a box. You gotta compartmentalize whatever is going on, and you gotta flip that switch and be ready for your people.
Right.
And honestly, like, if you are having a bad time, going to a wedding makes you kind of forget that for a little bit.
I agree.
It's a good cleanser, you know?
Yes. Unless you get one of those days where it's like everybody hates everybody.
Well, and hopefully not.
Yeah.
But,
Hey guys, just wanted to take a brief pause in the episode to tell you thank you for supporting our podcast. It would mean the world to us if you could subscribe to whatever platform you are listening on. Let's get back to the episode.
So I gotta know, have you ever dealt with a difficult vendor on a wedding day? And if so, how did you handle it?
Yes, I have. Randomly it was a caterer, you know, like
Of all things.
Of all things. Like, and I thought that was really odd because I'm like, why?
But why?
Why be grouchy
That's
today?
me. I'm like, what?
Why?
Why?
Like, you're bringing everyone nourishment. Be happy.
Yeah.
What is the deal here? I guess she just didn't understand what our timeline was going to be, and she just got her panties in a wad. And I am a kill 'em with kindness kind of person.
Yes.
My Nana has this superpower. Well, she will just roast you. She will tell you where to put it in the nicest way possible. And you do not know that you got put in your place until you walk away and you're like, I think she... Oh. And so I think that's kind of an approach that I end up taking. Like, I'm going to tell you, hey, that was disrespectful and this isn't how we speak to each other.
Okay.
But I'm going to do it in the nicest way possible. My goal is not to make you feel tiny, but if you do, good.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you ought
That
not
was
be.
bonus.
Yeah, like, don't act like that. There is no reason to be rude. There's no reason to get your panties in a wad. This is not rocket science. This is someone's day, and your priority should be the couple.
Yes.
Let your little piddly crap be in the way. So compartmentalize it. Put it in a box.
I just will never understand. Like, I've had my, like, fair share, to be
Yeah.
frank. And I'm just like, why are you out here trying to make everybody's life difficult right now?
Yeah, like, why?
Like, this isn't even about you. I just don't understand. Have you ever?
Oh, I was like, caterer is such an odd like one to run in, but we did have one caterer that was like, no, you'll wait until the end, and I was like, no, we won't wait until the end. And the planner was like appalled that the caterer told us that we had to wait, and the planner was like, I'll be right back. And then she made that caterer come bring us the plates with the correct napkins and utensils, and I felt so awkward, and she was like, apologize. It's
God
like, go
bless a good
planner, but
canner.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Round of applause.
Love. Yeah, can we put her on a preferred list?
I
Because that's
swear.
amazing.
I know, that was
But,
the only
like,
time, but
we
yeah.
should always treat each other with kindness, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, you're bringing everybody down around you. Why?
What I love is when your wedding party knows that someone's being a downer and they tell you before you walk in the room, listen, such and such, the mother of the groom. It's always the mother of the groom. I don't know why. She's being a real handful today. You know, our bride is super upset. She's not sure how she's going to act. And I make it my goal for that person to fall in love with me by the end of the night.
Right.
And then there's no problems.
Right.
And guess who's inviting me to their house out east next year? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
No, I know.
Mama.
No, I swear,
You're
though, I do
so
the
right,
same
though.
thing.
It is like the little bridesmaids, like the Tweety birds. They
they'll
like
tell
come
ya.
up and they're like, okay, here's the going ons of the day.
Yes.
Yeah, and they will, and I love that. I love that we all kind of have
Yeah.
each other's back on that. But yeah, you're only going to be as happy as the most grumpy person in the room, as the unhappiest person in the room. So why not, like, you don't have to bend over backwards for this person, but like, mother of a groom, mother of a bride, this day is really important to them too.
Yeah.
Treat them with a little extra kindness, a little more love. Did we get all the photos that you were wanting? Is there
Yep.
anything that we missed that you want?
Yep.
That goes forever.
I know.
Yeah.
So
I know. It's always just taking the extra step to like do what you need to do to kind of squash the situation.
yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know why, like, why not? You know, like, odds are you're probably never going to see this person again.
Right.
And I mean, if anything, maybe they're going to tell everybody how great you were all day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'll just never understand people that just conflict to conflict and then
Yeah.
people that make it worse. You know what I mean?
And if someone's like naturally that way and then they still have something bad to say about you, even after you've had a really good reputation, that's more of on them.
them,
than,
it makes them look terrible.
So yeah, kill them with kindness. I mean, that's just the best thing to do. There's no reason to, get crazy on wedding day with somebody. No one has time for that. I got a job to do.
I swear. So the biggest piece of advice for people wanting to get into the industry.
I love this one. So first, I have 3 things to start and 3 things to stop.
Okay.
First, before we get to that list, first thing, if you feel you need help with your life, with your mentality, with your brain, with how you function, find a therapist that you love and trust and get in with a therapist, because this job is really heavy. It comes with a lot of giving up family things, a lot of family time. You give up a lot of yourself because your heart is tied to this job. You need to make sure that your heart is healthy.
100%.
So find a therapist that you love. If that is your thing, if you feel comfortable, if you feel like you need a therapist, do that. 3 things to stop. Stop scrolling. Get off of social media where you're following every Tom, Dick, and Harry who you think is great. It's cool to support your friends and it's cool to be in that space with them, but you cannot compare the chapter of your life to someone's book that you don't even like.
Right.
Like you do not need to be comparing yourself to them because
you don't even want their ending, but yet,
like that's not your story at all. Like it's just extremely difficult to get out of that too. Yeah. Like once you're like, oh, well, I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that. So stop scrolling, stop shopping. The best gear out there is not going to make you a good photographer. Get a decent camera, good glass, and go have fun.
Yep.
Like just go have fun.
Right.
Just go have fun. And then this one is probably a little controversial, but stop relying on Facebook groups.
No, I agree.
When everybody's like, I'm looking for a senior photographer. And then like everyone and their mother 68 comments later that just because they have a nice camera, do it for $15 for 45 minutes and they're super happy to give these to you. That's awesome. But that's not going to serve you as an artist. Do this for friends, do it for family, do something creative and let other people share your work, because you delivering a good product and being a good person and having a good time is going to go a lot further than the person not wanting to pay an arm and a leg on social media, Facebook.
I agree.
I so agree.
Those are my stops.
Yeah.
Y'all ready for the starts?
Yes.
Okay. So start getting inspired to create. I rarely get inspired by other photographers, but I am inspired by books, music, nature, daydreaming, getting on Pinterest, just finding like cute little quotes or just researching a place that I want to go.
I love your mood boost Monday.
Oh my gosh,
I always
it's
look forward
literally
to
my
it.
favorite.
It's fun. And like,
Yes.
that's what I use TikTok for. Honestly, like I find cute little videos that knows what I want. So pop that on there, get inspired. Start learning. YouTube University is like the best place to go. Find someone that aligns with your energy and consume everything they create.
Yep.
Like go through what they're teaching. And then start giving. So having a giving spirit with an open heart to have change and improvement is super important. And let that giving spirit not only be outward, but inward. Give yourself love, give yourself space, give yourself time to create and figure out who you are as an artist. But yeah, just having a giving spirit instead of a what can I get from these people? What can I take?
Yeah.
Start asking like what you can do for other people. And that's
that.
a big difference.
Well, I love it because I feel like so many photographers, they're like, I'm going to take this picture for me. You know, I'm going to take this because I want it for me.
Or even like kind of force your couple into like, well, let's do this, even though you don't really want to, because I really want it.
Right.
Right. Instead of saying, oh, that's totally not them at all. Like, let's give them something that's them.
Yeah. You've got to pull back and not just create for your portfolio.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the same sense, like, you know, we're working with really good vendors. I want to make sure that they get photos of their work. And that
Yes.
kind of compounds with like the commercial work side.
Yeah.
And so I do enjoy being able to do that for folks without taking away from my couple. Like,
Right.
they hired these people because they love what they do. I'd love for them to have pretty images too. It took me
Exactly.
2.5 seconds to make sure I framed this just right website for there to be a little extra space for somebody to use it for on their Instagram or Facebook with la da 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 information, beautiful catered this or beautiful floral this.
Right.
And the couple's probably going to love that they have that too.
Well, and then, they're going to share that, and naturally that just brings more your way. You know what I'm saying? I will never understand photographers that don't want to share with other vendors.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole thing right now, I guess, on TikTok.
That's
And
so
I'm
silly.
just like, I don't understand. Like, why would you not want to share?
Right.
I just really don't get it.
I don't. So how, I know I have, like, in your stories, you'll talk about not your ideal client, but definitely like attracting your client, because all of our clients are different. How do you, like, whenever you were first starting that, was it scary, like, trying to not niche down, but like find your people?
Yeah, because you kind of feel like at the beginning you take on anyone who will
Anything.
trust you, you know? And I think from every little job you take, you find what you want and what you don't want. And I think that finding what you don't want or what doesn't fuel your soul is just as important as finding what you do. So yeah, that was kind of hard, like niching down and trying to decide. But honestly, like, again, we've already talked about, we don't like the term ideal client, but like the people that we want to work with they respect our work. They love each other. They love us.
Yeah.
There's really, like, what else? What other boxes need to be clicked?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, as long as they respect each other and what else?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. My favorite inquiries are the one, we've been waiting to work with you. You know what I'm saying?
I've been wanting to get engaged.
Yes.
Yes,
Or I know when I
yes.
get that contact form and I ask him to tell me the love story, like spill the
Yes.
beans, don't leave anything out. And it's huge.
Instead of a one-liner.
I'm like, we're about to work together. I can
yes.
tell.
Yes. Don't one-line me.
Yes.
Because I want to know.
Yeah.
You know? I want to know about you. I think a lot of people think that we just take anyone that comes our way. Like, I
Yeah.
think that
Or it's just money for us.
Right.
That's
Like,
really
I think
way more than
outside
money.
looking in, like, I really feel like that's how people feel. And what they don't understand is, like, we want just as much effort from you as we give. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
We are a team.
Right.
Together.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't photograph you if you just stand there.
Right.
You know, I can guide you,
Give
but
me
if
something.
but if you don't know how to look at each other and smile, we're gonna have a problem. You know. You know.
And that's why engagements are important again.
I swear. I swear. So do you have like any stories or like anything crazy or fun or whatever that you can think of from like a wedding day that you want to share?
So I don't think we've actually ever had anything like crazy drama. Oh my gosh, that was awful. I really wish we hadn't done this wedding. It's all been memorable.
So
Okay.
what's one memory that you're like, I will never forget that?
So we had a wedding in I think it was in 2020, in St. Louis, Missouri. It was hot. It was in the middle of June, I believe, June or July. And for some reason, it just happened to be extra hot in St. Louis that summer. They decided that they wanted to do private vows to each other, the jewel box. So that was beautiful. It's air conditioned. It's lovely in there. Then we went out to Lafayette Park, I believe, with their big wedding party. My bride has on this like fancy corset type thing under her dress, so she didn't have like bra strap situation. I mean, the things
Yeah.
women do so that we, you
Right.
know, whatever. I'm like, ugh, that sounds awful. But it was like really squeezing her, and she was like, I'm getting really hot. And I was like, okay, 2 more seconds and we've got the shot that you want and we'll be out of here. She almost passed out by the time we got her to the hotel. And we were all worried, like, are you okay? Are you
Yeah.
feeling? And she's like the most chill person. She was not dramatic at all, but she was like, I need a minute. Had to get her out of that dress. So then obviously later when we have to get her back in that dress and we're getting her married, they were like, it's hot again. Well, we're in the middle of Forest Park, which is huge, beautiful park in St. Louis. At the bottom of this hill, there's a giant fountain, like huge, big. The groom looks at her during reception and he was like, are you still really hot? And she's like, yeah, I'm ready to get out of this dress. He was like, what if we go jump in the fountain?
Stop.
You want to go cool off in the fountain? And she was like, absolutely. And I kid you not, the entire wedding party bolted down the hill, shoes flying as quick as we can all the way down this hill, and they jump in. He grabs her, he spins her. It is the most magical. I teared up. I love my job. Nothing will ever compare to this. And it was just a beautiful moment.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so many people.
so awesome.
It's like, why not?
Why not?
Why not? You're
You've
gonna
already
wear
worn
it. You're gonna wear it one time. Like, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a bride and groom that I convinced to jump into the pool. I thought her mother was going to kill me. And they were like, why are you making them do that? I'm like, because they want to.
Yeah.
Like, why
What a
are we
memory.
so worried about it?
Yeah, because that is way more fun than, oh yeah, I decided not to jump in the pool and I let my dress be dirty at the bottom and it was fine.
So do you know where my wedding dress is? Balled up in a bag somewhere because I got into the river on my wedding day. I'm pretty sure it still has pine cones and twigs. And I mean, like, what are you going to do with it?
And like, especially if that's like part of your personality, like if you are kind of like wild and fun and fancy free, like oodle ollie your way right down to that fountain, get
I'm
in
obsessed.
I love that. And I feel like it is, oh, I don't want to get my hair or my makeup. But I'm like, I love when I see those weddings that like it poured rain and they just
But you know
went
what?
with it.
Yes.
If you've hired a good hair and makeup artist, that makeup ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Preach.
Go do what you want. Like, it's not going
Preach.
anywhere.
When people complain about how expensive hair and makeup is, I'm like, girl, you want it to stay? You're getting married in May in Arkansas?
Yeah.
You better spend the $150
Yeah.
because if not, you're going to be sweating. And then I don't want to hear nothing about it when...
Can you edit this?
Yeah, nope, not the one.
Oh, I mean, they are worth their weight in gold.
Yes.
Good hair and makeup. You should be able to go play mermaids at your wedding and hop out of that
I
pool.
swear. I
Yeah.
swear, though. So y'all do work in St. Louis a lot,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
my-
how did that...
Yeah. So my husband grew up about an hour south of there.
Okay.
And so we've got family in the area, and it was like one thing led to another. We ended up getting into a big group of girls from the Truman swim team.
Okay.
And then some of them were related, cousins, sisters, whatever.
Huh.
And I'm not kidding. We had like 5 or 6 weddings in a row that were all from this group. So it's like every wedding we got together, it didn't matter if it was in St. Louis, Kansas City, the Dominican Republic. All of the parents were there. All of the friends
That
were
is
there.
awesome.
And honestly, like it felt like family at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So
Really
that
cool.
was, I think our career started off in a really family-centered, fun way around some of the most amazing people in St. Louis too.
That is so cool. We have I have family in Farmington. I don't know. If you
Yeah.
know
Oh,
that's
so
that.
it's so funny that you said Farmington because my husband's actually from Bonne Terre.
Oh my god!
I just shot a wedding on Sunday in Farmington. It was his
Really?
cousin's wedding, so we had a great
Oh my
time
gosh!
doing
What
that.
if our families are related?
Oh my God, what if we
We'll have to
are?
talk about this.
I mean-
off camera. That's so wild. Because no
Yes.
one ever knows what I'm talking about when
No.
I say that. So
It's
that,
little.
It is so little.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arcadia Valley. I lived there as a child.
Aw.
So, anyways, fun fact.
Yeah.
Enough about that though.
But St. Louis is awesome. It's a great city. Tommy lived there until, he's been here maybe 11 or 12 years now.
Okay.
But yeah, grew up in that area and really enjoyed it.
That's so cool. But it just goes to show, like, everywhere you go, you make connections. And, like,
Yeah.
you never know. You never know how it's going to impact your career.
Yeah.
So, well, I think that kind of wraps it up, right?
Yeah. I think
You have
so.
anything for
Sounds
me?
good to me.
Do you have like a post-wedding meal or drink or before pre-wedding thing that you do?
Ooh, so pre-wedding, always Chick-fil-A. Usually the grilled nuggets and a lemonade or a sweet tea.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the way to go. Got to do something safe if you got a funny tummy, like super safe.
Yes.
After wedding, though, we get 20 chicken nuggets.
20.
20. Tommy likes the hot mustard with his 10, and I like sweet and sour with honey mustard. You double dip them bad boys.
Gonna
That's
have
a
to try
sauce. That's a sauce right there.
Yeah,
Gonna
there
have
you
to
go.
try it. I'm a sweet and sour nugget girl myself.
Oh, it's so
My
good.
husband looks at me sideways like, do what? I'm like, just try it.
It's good.
It is so good.
It's really good. Do you guys have any hot takes that you haven't talked about yet?
Oh, I saw one I like put in our notes that have you ever done a beach wedding?
Yes.
I did like portraits out there. How was it for you?
Anytime I do out of state elopements, like I'm pretty much in charge of like scheduling and time wise and stuff like that. And I feel like anything on the beach, not at sunset, it's just so bright.
Yeah.
The sand, it's hot.
Well,
So it was good.
The TikTok I saw was like, obviously it's a public beach, so you can't control it. But like people literally moved their chairs so they could like take a selfie with the wedding party in the background. And I'm like, that's so tacky.
Oh,
like,
that's so tacky.
And now you're in the background of all their
Yeah.
wedding picture. It's like, why
No.
not just pick up and move?
yeah.
right? Like I
10
would like if I saw that,
steps.
I'd be like, oh, they're getting married. Like I'm not gonna intrude.
Yeah, or I don't want to be looking like a beach whale in the background.
People are out here just wild. Like
Wild.
just freaking wild.
Well, everything's to go viral now.
It
Yeah.
is,
They're like,
yeah.
what's the craziest thing we can do?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of terrifying.
It is a little
Honestly.
bit, for sure.
I think that's why China decided to kind of limit. Did you hear about that though? They
Yeah.
were like, they had kids and like people doing crazy stuff trying to go viral.
And it like shuts off at 10 o'clock at night or something, right?
So now they've like put all these bands on there
Parental
to where
guides.
it can, it's like STEM oriented. So it's like educational and
Did
stuff
you
now.
like, so just going off into nowhere, did you follow all the sepia gate
Of
drama?
course. Enough to know what was going on and enough
Right.
to see both sides and understand where they were coming from.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, like, everybody's got to do the research on their person, and like a conversation should have been had about what the expectations were for those photos to be edited.
That's what we just talked about in the last podcast. I think the mistake was they didn't get an engagement session.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and
I feel like it's the bride's fault. I'm just going to be frank because if you do your research, you should have known what you were getting. One scroll through through the
Gallery.
Instagram.
But you should have also, if you would have gotten, she said she sent galleries. If you'd have looked at galleries.
Yeah.
yeah.
Or I just think get an engagement session. Maybe then you would have said, oh, you know what? I actually don't like coloring.
But
Or-
also, are we sure that it wasn't done for clout? Because I feel
Right.
like, again,
never
these
know.
Can't
days,
say.
anybody wants to be viral, you know what I'm saying? And it sucks that it's the cost of somebody's business, you know?
But like if it was like a for real situation, say
Yeah.
this actually did happen and it went down the way they both said, those sneak peeks of the wedding should have been evidence of what the wedding was going to look like.
I agree.
I send out previews of the wedding night of. If I'm getting home before midnight, my couple have anywhere between 50 or 150 images that night. And they are already looking at them and they can say, I'll tell them, like, if there's anything you want changed or any editing critiques that you have, please let me know. 100% of the time they don't because they know what our work looks like and we've already set an expectation. But that's already another little like, boom, okay, checkpoint, we good? Boom, checkpoint, we good? Because every vendor you work with should have checkpoints.
No, I
and
agree.
over communicate.
And I love that you even said, it's a lot of people I feel like wouldn't even be like, here's your sneak peek. Like, just want to make sure you love it, essentially.
Yeah.
Because they would almost be like, I don't want to say too prideful, but something of like, I've been doing this for too long. Like, this
Right.
is me. But you're giving like an open-ended
Yeah,
conversation.
absolutely.
You're having that open communication.
Well, maybe the weather was different than they expected. Maybe that edits, maybe my whites are a little bit more crushed. Maybe my greens are a little bit more punchy. If that's something that drew their eye immediately, I want to make sure that they're happy with it. Like, I'm going to stay true to my edits, but I
Right,
also
right.
want them
To be happy.
to be happy.
Yeah.
I feel
Absolutely.
like, yeah, at the end of the day, I know we all would hate to deliver a gallery and then like know our couple wasn't like over the moon.
I think that's part of previews too. Like, not only do you want to give them something so that they have something now, but also like, this is an overarching idea of what your entire gallery will be. I hope you enjoy.
Right. But it's also why I think you should, and I try to share. I mean, I always am telling brides, like, please let me know if you want to see full albums.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
all
know,
the
and
time.
I feel like I'm pretty open with my work, but I'm sending rainy, I'm sending foggy, I'm sending bright sunshine. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Sunset. Like, you're going to see my work all across the board because at the end of the day, we cannot control the weather.
No.
And like, you may want a sunset ceremony and it ends up pouring rain all day.
Well, and that's what even like galleries, I will never get my feelings hurt whenever someone like passes or goes in a different direction once I've sent my galleries, because I'm like, if this isn't exactly what you want, I want you to have exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Do you ever ask people why they didn't book with you?
I haven't.
Have you?
I have. I do every single time.
Okay.
I pose it as I'm always striving to do better. I'm always
Yeah.
trying to better our business. I would love to hear what ultimately had you decide to go with another vendor, and if there's any improvements that I can make.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's we had to change our budget.
Right.
Or we actually decided that light and airy is more what we wanted, or dark and moody is what we
Right.
wanted.
Yeah.
And it's never we didn't vibe with you, we didn't think you were
Right.
worth it. But getting that feedback is always really good. And like,
kinda-
why not
Yeah.
ask if they're willing
Right.
to answer, especially
Right.
if you pose it as like, hey, we're always trying to learn and do better.
Yeah.
Right.
Was there anything
And
that
it's not like you're
threw
going to
you
hurt
off?
my feelings. Like, I'm curious.
No,
Exactly.
I'm not going to have my feelings hurt. I'm asking.
Yeah.
Right. I want to know. I feel
Yeah.
like so many people are too prideful to have constructive criticism. And it's one of those things like I wish more people would be willing to accept that.
Yeah.
Artists, man.
I know.
We are a pretentious group.
We
Well,
are.
it's also like very vulnerable.
Yeah.
It is.
Because it's your work.
Yeah.
It is.
Well, honestly, I made the joke to Tommy. I was like, all right, I have this podcast today. I'm feeling really vulnerable. Tomorrow I'll have a gynecologist to visit. I don't know which one I feel more vulnerable at, you know?
True.
That
True.
is so funny. That is
But it is, you know, you're exposing your heart. Like,
Yeah.
everything about your business is you. And sometimes when someone says, you think,
Yeah.
oh no, it's
Right.
me.
It's
It's
not.
not.
Yeah.
It's not. You
Right.
got to separate
Yeah.
those things.
Exactly.
But yeah, I love asking.
That
So.
is-
I'm
and it's kind of
inspired.
brave.
It
is
is. I
brave.
mean, it's kind of ballsy, but I was like, what? I mean, what's
Why
it gonna
not?
hurt? What's
you
it gonna hurt?
You probably never meet them.
And you know what? They never ghost me when I ask why.
Oh,
Never.
that's kinda
People want to
like-
tell you.
Yeah.
People want to tell you. You know.
Right.
You
So, like,
honestly,
why not?
everyone, they want their opinions heard.
Absolutely.
So.
Everyone wants their opinions heard. I mean, that's why we have this podcast. We're all talking about opinions and
Exactly.
what we do.
And
Which
that's
I love.
literally like whenever I'm like pitching to people to come on the podcast, I'm always like, do I pitch to this person? And Zach and Sydney are like, yeah, why not? And I'm like, okay, send.
And I'm so glad you did. Like, I try to do something that scares me at least 1 or 3 things a year.
Yeah.
And this was on my list. So, and it's been great.
It's nerve wracking, but it's like, it's one of those things. Like, I've had a lot of brides that said that they have learned so much from
love
listening
that.
and that they're actually taking it in. They've made notes for their wedding day and stuff. So I feel like it's really helping brides in general. I feel like people want to know vendors. They want to
Yeah.
know about you. They want to see you and how you interact. I feel like it's just so good all the way around. And it's a good, like, networking and talking and, you know,
It's fun.
Yeah.
and we're really hoping, I'm just going to go ahead and say it on camera, to like get a big group of people together.
that would
and
be
to
so
do,
fun.
So like everyone that we've interviewed and stuff, we're hoping to do like a big podcast where
Like a
everybody can,
panel.
yeah, so everybody can be together and we can all kind of bounce ideas off of each other and stuff like that. So,
That's a great idea. I mean, I really think that's what our community needs.
oh, I agree.
I think you guys have talked about on the podcast how like the community can feel really real and then it can feel really fake, and it's really difficult navigating that.
It is. It is. You never know who you can trust, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
All right. Well, tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, so I am on Instagram at Allie Atkisson Imaging, and that's all. And then I've got my website at AllieAtkissonImaging.com, and pretty simple. It's just always my name and easy to get to.
Yeah. And for couples, and then also if any vendors need some
Oh yeah,
commercial
Products.
work.
all the products on there.
Yeah.
I also do boudoir. That's
There you
hanging
go.
out on my
There you
page.
go.
So yeah, it's a one-stop shop and pretty easy to get through. So
Yeah.
perfect. Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you
Yeah.
guys.
This
This has
is-
been so fun.
I agree. This has been awesome. So,
All right. See you next time.
all right. Bye.
Bye.
As we finish this episode, we want to say a big thank you to all of the support on our podcast. You can find us at Black Tie Opt Podcast. We are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you so much for supporting our podcast.